There we go. Monday night, we're live.
Monday.
Yes. All right.
I mean, not really live, but we're going.
Oh, the mics are hot.
The mics are hot. Yeah.
All right. What episode are we on?
Episode 5.
5.
Yeah, week 4.
Made it this far. It's February.
Thank goodness. It was the longest month of January ever.
It did seem like a long month for sure.
Like, think about how quickly the second half of last year went, and think about January. It was the same time.
Unreal. Okay, I think we have like a jam-packed but efficient, hopefully, episode coming because last week went a little long, rambling.
He kept topic dumping,
but we got organized. So we're gonna follow up on last week's discussion just a little bit. We got
just some quick hitter news.
Yeah, hot news just off the press for running and flying.
Yeah.
And our weekend, and you're bringing up some topics.
Yeah, I was going to talk about AI a little bit, which was newsworthy this past week, but then AI and training.
Yeah.
And then that would segment us into those lovely Strava AI messages.
Athlete intelligence.
Yeah. So,
and
then
of course
Black
it's
Canyon.
It's race week here.
Yeah.
I have 100 kilometers on tap Saturday, like in 6 days.
I am dreading being around you. You hate your life after 3 hours.
Grumpy ultra runner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you got pissed at me last time because I didn't know you wanted different shoes. And
no, I didn't get pissed at you. I was like, I know you. Okay,
you were like,
get into
do
it.
I have shoes? Yeah, but you knew that you didn't prep me for shoes.
I told you not to bring shoes to the first cruise station.
Yeah.
And it turned out that I had picked the wrong shoes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Next time, this week, I'm bringing shoes to every aid station. Anyway.
Okay.
All right. Well, let's talk about the weekend. What an amazing weekend it was.
I think it was finally like the weekend I was looking for, just as far as like, I mean, we had lots going on and we were able to get it done, but it was like all the girls here, full house, your mom here, had my mom over, we had other family over.
Yeah.
And we were just able to enjoy the property for what it is, being at the airport, mingling with people, and it was like sunny and perfect.
It was a perfect, people were asking me at work about my weekend. I'm like, it was amazing. And I don't know if they've ever heard me say that before, because usually I'm doing schoolwork. And to be fair, like by the end of the day on Sunday, we're like, crap, we didn't do anything this weekend, work-wise. But it was perfect. So. And
you went back to back on the same dinner because it was so amazing Saturday night. We did it all again on Sunday night.
So I was planning on doing leftovers Sunday night.
But we ate it all. I ate it all.
You ate it all. And I had all that rice and sauce left over, so I just made the same chicken again Sunday night.
Maybe you can share that recipe, or is it going to be a secret?
No,
Rachel
I can
recipe?
Share. No, I got it from a blog online.
Peruvian chicken?
And it was Peruvian chicken.
So good.
With rice and like a green sauce. It was phenomenal.
It had hints of like a tikka, like a
tandoori. You kept saying.
Tandoori. Yeah. And I was like, I've been looking for this chicken for
since
1998. So like there's like a taste in my mind, like in my head, ingrained from a family that we knew in Australia when we lived there. They were from India. And funny enough, like they're full on like vegetarian, but they made the best tandoori chicken and naan bread. And that was the taste. Like it had that.
I've already shared it because I talked about it on my run with like people, like multiple people. I talked about it at work today, multiple people I've shared it with already. Good. So we'll post the link. So good. Yeah.
All right. Great weekend.
Yeah, but we'll get into the specifics a little bit later, I guess.
Yeah.
Let's talk about some quick news. So
so a few tragedies this last week, obviously in the news, but one that was kind of flew under the radar a little bit. That's a bad pun. I didn't mean to do that. But there was an indoor track meet fatality with a hammer throw at a high school meet. A hammer throw high school athlete threw like approved barriers and killed a spectator with a hammer, which would just be awful. I've seen like videos of javelins going through people at tracks.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and I just can't even imagine apparently it was pretty bad, like EMS obviously on scene for a long time, and that was in Colorado Springs. And
on the flying scene, our hearts go out to
all the victims
of the plane crash, multiple plane crashes.
Multiple, but in DC especially. I mean, there's like, 68 people or more because of the other crews and things. And I don't know, I'm kind of like ruffled up a little bit just from people, like if you look at the comments, everyone's like, well, I'm never flying again, or I'm going to wait till this all gets figured out. And I'm like, well, there's no like one thing that's the problem.
You know, it's interesting you say that. So every day I get one of the local news stations sends out a poll, and today's was, how do you feel about flying now? Like, are you scared of flying now? And I didn't look at the results. That would be something interesting for me to pull.
Yeah. Well, so like, what I'm seeing is like, not until all this stuff gets sorted out am I ever going to fly again.
Yeah.
There was a fire at the Houston airport this weekend.
Yeah.
Engine fire while on the taxiway, and everyone bailed out of the side doors. That was
right after the Philly incident, which was right after the DC incident. It was a crazy week.
Yeah. But I mean, they're all like super separate. I mean, I don't know what happened with that AirMed one out of Philly that went down, but quite simply, the DC one was just a air collision, and basically that helicopter, what it appears, was kind of out of place. But the expectations are like, DC's crazy. We flew in there, and actually the airplane's route went right over our hotel for where we stayed, up at the Potomac River.
Yeah.
Before it has to make this like, they're on, even though it's nighttime.
Post 9/11.
Yeah, you used to fly in over the city. You could fly
able to fly over city monuments, things like that anymore.
Yeah. So now they have to fly, even though it's like nighttime. They basically fly this like visual river approach.
Yeah.
And it looks like you're going to line up on one runway, and this time he had to like hook turn into another runway. And the Black Hawk at the time was like 5 nautical miles north near the airport when the air tower asked, like, do you have that flight in visual? Which is just ridiculous, because it's like, no, there's no way with all the city lights and being dark that pilot would have had visual at night for that aircraft. So lots to go wrong. Apparently that helicopter is supposed to be like 200 feet or below, hugging the east bank, and it was like basically flew right into the side of that thing.
Yeah.
So lots of like error on multiple sides, but out of this, I think what we're going to see is, especially in the DC area, is like tightened, especially helicopter air, like even though it's military, like a lot of restrictions on helicopter flying. And I actually saw a helicopter go by when I was flying this weekend. We can talk more about that flight. But I was like,
in traffic, I see helicopters flying all the time. I mean, it's everywhere.
Yeah, and they fly very differently than airplanes. They're always much lower, and they're kind of doing their thing. And yeah, it's just, we all have to imagine like this right now. Like maybe this is like, it's unfortunate, like people obviously died, but we have this whole world, and we were talking to the girls about this, of drones coming. Yeah. Imagine the sky, like DC, but everywhere. That's what we're going towards.
No, absolutely.
With deliveries, there's going to be like the collision.
The regulation in the airspace as we evolve in technology is absolutely going to have to change.
Yeah, and it sucks because it just means more restriction, which as like a free flight pilot. Yeah. And our airport, like where we sit right now, the line for Houston, like restricted airspace, is literally like out our window. See it. Like it's
like right outside our
right
backyard.
Up to us. Yeah. And we have this like free airspace right here that we can operate in, but it's like you cross that line and now you're like, there's all these requirements, and cities are getting bigger and they're encroaching. I mean,
especially Houston, it's growing wider, not up, right? Certain cities grow up, Houston grows out.
Yeah. So airspace is for probably a bigger future topic, but I think that's what's going to come down to, a lot of stuff from that incident in particular.
Yeah. But
unfortunately.
Anyway, lots of tragic events this week, including indoor track and field.
And field. Yeah, well, field inside, throws inside is a unique
liability.
Yeah. Crazy. Just imagine being that athlete though, like to throw that, like your life just changed in an instant trying to do sport. Like that's terrible. Yeah. For them.
Yeah. All right, Cameron Myers.
I mean, the mile in general. So Cameron Myers is an under 20-year-old athlete, ran the mile world record in 3:53. But what's even crazier is, that's under 20. So 3:53 mile as a 20-year-old or under. The top 10 NCAA times right now are under 3:55. So like you're not even going to nationals pretty much if you haven't run
that
under
is like unfathomably fast.
Yeah, it's gotten ridiculous. Cole Lindhorst is a kid I used to coach. He's now up in Washington, and he ran 3:55 just during the week of Houston, I believe. But they had a bunch of teammates go all under. But I was looking at a top 10 list. The NCAA record got broken, and that one was crazy. I had a picture of that. I believe I had the results up from FlowTrack. Just craziness. Yeah, if you look, 3:48 for Ethan Strand, NCAA record. 10 men ran 3:54 or faster this weekend. So it's just, and I don't recognize a single one. They're just kids, in school. The game has completely changed from when I was in university.
I think this has come up a couple of times now, and so maybe we need to talk about this. Are people getting faster and fitter, or is technology in the shoe or the gear or whatever changing so much that it's enabling this? And maybe a hybrid, right?
Yeah, for sure. You can't deny shoes. You can't deny tracks. I think there's like the kind of like, what do you call it? It's like global, like almost like knowledge has grown because everything's so like I can pull up all those results. Back in the day, you might not ever hear that even happened. So
they weren't trying to push themselves as far. Yeah.
I would only know that I need to beat
but you
my
can
rival.
say that about media in general.
Yeah,
you can go say that about, is it really any safer now versus 20 years ago when we went home with the streetlights that came on? Like just from a kid's perspective, we had this debate at work recently of like, the crimes are relatively the same, but no one trusts anything anymore because of media.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's the other side of that. But I mean, just as far as like pushing the envelope and knowing what's out there, I think we have a much more higher visibility. It's something that I always wish I knew.
Really beneficial, but it's also really detrimental.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
It's part of like why I like living where we live. Like we're in our own bubble.
Yeah.
And I kind of like that.
Yeah.
It's a little enclosed. And I think as you get older, we weren't talking about that before, right? Older people just have like their one restaurant, their one thing. And it's like, I'm not going across town to do that.
I know.
But yeah, as training changed, absolutely. We're seeing that. We talked about this, like just the training as far as like carbed up and fueled versus like before it was all being fat adapted and, different types of training. And for sure, we're all like learning and stealing and borrowing and pulling from each other. But, one thing will be hot. It'll be like the Ingebrigtsen Norwegian model of measuring lactate and then doing double thresholds. And then the next thing you know, like the Americans will beat the Norwegians and they're like, well, they don't do double thresholds. We need to go back this way.
I mean, you can say that about diet too. Think of all, that's the crazy.
But for sure. I was hearing a lot about just like this whole carb frenzy thing is like, so much of it comes from the peloton. I always talk about that from Tour de France.
Yeah.
And now these cyclists that used to train like so depleted and be just absolutely wrecked now are like carved up to crazy and they're able to train so much more day in and day out and now like starting to eliminate off seasons and things like that. And it's just like, they almost like, they like it, but they don't.
Man, you could never eliminate an off season. You were all about the off season.
Oh,
yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I've been training. I deserve an off season soon.
Actually, skipping ahead a little bit, I was picking my Black Canyon fantasy team.
And I have not seen this at all.
And I was looking at like their race results in the past couple years.
Okay.
And I was looking at their Strava training. And
wow. Deep dive.
I forget who it was. I forget who it was. Oh yeah, Heather Jackson.
Yeah, she passed us last year.
Yeah, she passed us. No, I know exactly who she is. I really wanted to put her in my fantasy league, and I'm so sorry, Heather, I didn't, because you've only been training for 4 weeks.
Ooh,
like her Strava is lower mileage, and then like exploded the past 4 weeks.
Like me.
Like you, and I'm like, I'm not gonna put. Yeah, so.
Cool.
Yeah.
I feel like we saw Heather Jackson recently again too, but yeah, I always cheer for her. I like her.
Yeah.
Cool.
No, I really wanted to put her in. She
I guess
she was seven Western States, first Javelina. 23.
I think I saw her at States.
In
That's right.
2023, yeah.
She
was seventh.
She passed me at States
She was
too.
7th woman.
When I was pacing.
Yeah.
Yeah, Heather Jackson came cruising through.
But compared to some of the other women.
So I've been passed by Heather twice now. Well, I wasn't racing once.
Yeah, compared to other women, she just hadn't put in as much time. So I chose some others. But you never
Maybe
know.
She's being private.
Because I put you. That's true.
Okay, that was my next question. Do I make the fantasy league?
So we're skipping
Do you
ahead.
want to win the fantasy league or do you want to win my heart?
I did put you in my fantasy league.
Is there like a DFL or something?
I did, yeah. Look, I put you in my fantasy league as number 5.
I'm on the list.
5 out of 5.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. Anyways.
Don't let me get ahead.
Yeah, sorry. I skipped ahead. So anyway.
Keep me on track. Keep me on track. I think you have another Strava thing coming up.
Do I? Oh, I want to bring up a different Strava topic. Yeah, for sure. So let's talk about Clayton Young.
Yeah.
So he was previewing Boston this week by running Boston.
Just casual 244, I think it says there.
I mean, why didn't we go to Black Canyon and preview Black
Just
Canyon?
run 100K.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's pretty cool. Boston's an open course. Kind of crazy. We run roads all the time, but yeah, I wonder if they had like escort service or how that looked. But he said in the comments like he was pretty wrecked from the workout the day before, so I went and pried on that, which he's like open book. He films his whole YouTube series was awesome leading up to the Olympics and then Houston.
Yeah.
Which he didn't have a good day for the half. Like he just said, he wasn't on that day as his teammate Clayton or Mance killed it. But they did 3x2 mile or 3x3 mile, I think it was.
3x3 mile, I think.
Yeah,
But
like
really
440
fast.
mile.
Yeah.
For each one. He's like, I'm pretty wrecked from that the day before, and then they went into a marathon.
And ran a casual marathon.
Yeah. That's for a level of that. The mileage they do.
Fine.
If you look at the rule, it's like 25% of your weekly volume can be your long run. Yeah,
I found when I was making my fantasy league, I was looking at everyone's Stravas, and most of the people were running north of 100 miles a week. Plus, and so I saw somebody that was running like 60 or 70 miles a week. I was like, slackers.
I peaked at 77.
I know, but it's just amazing because I looked at so many trainings today.
That's crazy. That's even available,
Yeah, exactly. A lot of them had run 400 plus miles in the month of January or this year so far with like 35, 45, 55,000 feet of elevation gain in January.
Oh, in January. I got 8,000 last week, I think. So that would be like, if I did that every week, 32.
Yeah.
But nobody ran a 224 marathon.
Well, so that was, skipping ahead. Okay.
Yeah, we're in it. We're talking Black Canyon.
Yeah, we might as well just talk about Black Canyon now. That's fair, is that
nobody ran a sub 350K.
No one talks about, these guys aren't out on the road running that fast, right? So that makes you the wild card.
Yeah,
because people don't choose you for the fantasy or don't post about you as much, but you can come in and, you did second at JFK that year. Actually, I was looking this year and you did make the JFK number 8 top pick fantasy person this past year, even though you didn't run.
I didn't run.
Yeah. So,
interesting.
Yeah.
Again, I definitely am like a longer shot. Like I think if I have the day that if I have an amazing day, top 10, like that's realistic.
Yeah.
Like just with the field that's coming from around the world.
It's a stacked field.
It's stacked.
It's
and like
so stacked.
if I was able to get in the top 10, I'm in a world class, like elite. Like I would say a deeper field than Houston Marathon, a deeper field than like different caliber athletes, but a different specialty athletes, I'll say, not caliber. Like
very different specialty. Yeah.
But like this is getting to the point where these big races are like the Olympics, the Super Bowl of ultra running every single time they run it.
It's like the 6-star of, trail racing or 7-star now.
For sure. The golden ticket races especially. So if you don't know what we're talking about, so Western States 100 miler in June, the only way to get picked is through a lottery system or a direct entry with golden tickets, or there's some sponsored entries, like very few. But basically my route as an elite, other than getting pulled out of the lotto, which I had a ticket from running Black Canyon last year for finishing, thanks to you.
Yeah.
Like I was able to go in the lottery, and then that'll
Yeah.
roll over because I didn't get picked. And so my chances keep increasing every year.
But if you have one ticket, your chance is like 0.001%.
But it builds and it builds.
Yeah,
and
but it builds.
But so my fastest way to do it, unless I got a sponsored entry, is to get a golden ticket. And fortunately, Black Canyon and the Canyons, which is the next race I'm signed up for in April, is a triple golden
so
ticket.
the top 3 get
Unless
a
somebody
golden
has
ticket.
it, then it rolls down, I think, to 5th as the
fifth,
deepest.
Yeah.
So there's always a chance, and yeah.
Yep. So, Fantasy League. I have Jupiter Carrera.
Second place last year.
Second place last year, craft athlete. Tim Tollefson, craft athlete.
Interesting.
He was 11th last year, but his
Interesting.
training is really solid.
I did hear that.
Yeah.
I heard it was much better.
Yeah. Hans Troyer, he's a young guy.
New ultra athlete.
He's a new ultra athlete. He's been putting in a lot of training. He did
Ran a good 50K.
a really good first at Bandera 50K. He was 10th last year. In his training, he's been like wearing sweatsuits and treadmill hiking
I've seen
and
a few.
going.
MK's
and,
been
like,
doing that. Like
yeah,
a few people have been
like
doing.
very targeted Black Canyon 100K.
Yeah. Yeah, we've been doing the
he's in
sauna
shape.
too.
Yeah. And then I have Mackay Clemens. He was
Don't know.
4th last year, and his training's been really, really good.
Okay.
So that is, and people to talk, and then I put you as 5th. So, because you get 5 picks. So,
But there's like,
but Seth Ruling, Craig Hunt,
Yeah,
Eli
Seth.
Hemming. I
Yeah,
mean,
oh
those
my
were
God,
all
those are
3
huge.
huge names
Huge.
that I considered putting in my, I mean, Seth Ruling, North Face.
yeah, beat me at JFK.
He was 6th in 2022 at Black Canyon. He was
So he has
4th in
experience.
Canyons.
Yeah.
Craig Hunt, 4th last year. I think I said that twice, so it must have been, I have a
Hmm.
different year. Eli Hemming, he was 1st in the 60K last year, but he's really a sub ultra guy.
Wasn't he the winner of JFK this year or second?
He was 1st or 2nd, I don't
Yeah.
quite remember. Yeah.
Really fast year. Yeah, no, it's just insanely deep. So it just keeps going. You're doing the women as well?
I do have women.
Okay.
I don't have to go through them, but I do have women.
Well, I'm interested. I mean, obviously I have a few friends in there that I'd like to see do well, and I know they will.
Yeah. So I have Emily Mann. She won the Rabbit 100 last year.
100 miler. Okay.
Yeah, solid training. Mary Denholm. She won Leadville and was 2nd at JFK.
Yeah, she's an old friend from Rabbit.
Our friend MK.
MK.
Crothup. She did 2nd at Canyons last year, but looks like she's been training pretty good. And
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, had to put her in. Annie Hughes, Hoka athlete, 3rd at Canyons, 3rd at Hard Rock, 4th at Swiss Peaks 360K, but she's had some really solid training.
It's interesting you have a few like long ultra people. So I mean,
I do.
like the 100 milers and the golden ticket races honestly don't, it's interesting to get into the 100 miler, you're running 100K.
Yeah.
It definitely, I think, leads better to people that are like faster. Like 50K,
sub-ultra. Yeah.
50K, 50 mile people.
I
rather
put
than
her,
100
yeah,
mile
because
people.
she did Canyons and did really well there, and
Mm-hmm.
her training's been really good. I put her in there. Tara Dower, I think, is an interesting one because she's off the Appalachian.
Yeah.
So that'll be interesting. I think a lot of eyes
Another
are on
ultra
her.
athlete. Yeah.
Yeah. And then Jane Mouse, she's an Aerovipa athlete.
Okay.
She did 2nd at Javelina. So it'd be interesting to see how she did because that's a
That's a
hot race.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then Heather Jackson I put on there as one to watch as well.
Okay. I like it. Good picks.
So yeah, that's it.
So yeah, you can tune in Saturday. There will be like live drone feed and cameras running with us and all sorts of stuff happening. And
Yeah.
Yeah, again, like top 10 sub 8 hours would be a fantastic day. Like regardless of,
You know, golden ticket aside, I'm
Yeah, exactly.
really excited for you to have redemption.
I just want a
on that
good,
course, yeah.
smooth, like I know it's going to be hard. I know it's not going to be smooth the whole way, but I want to have like a good strong run.
I won't
like a
be able
good
to
finish.
pace you this year if anything happens. Because last year your dad was there, so he like got the car.
Oh, I mean, we'll always
Yeah.
figure out logistics.
Yeah, but yeah, I guess I could be prepared for anything, but
Yeah.
hopefully I don't have to.
I was like, no offense, but if you pace me this year, that'd be a bad day.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't run that fast.
All right. So that's
all right.
This weekend's Ultra on tap.
Yeah, it'll be exciting. Lots of people to watch. And yeah, I'm excited to support you. And
Thanks.
Yeah, it'll be good. Anyway, following up from last week, let's talk about heart rate straps.
Oh, yeah, there's like one thing I wanted to mention because I actually had a heart rate strap pretty much failure at Houston. Like I was watching it and I was like, this is not right. This is not right. It's like either not connecting right. You have to, one, change the battery. And I'd say two, you were really bad about this when we first met.
Yeah, I do it now, but yeah,
you would leave your
connected.
monitor connected to the strap and it's just like always draining it. And yours was dead all the time. So disconnect it all the time and wash your strap, which is helpful. But change the battery. And then also people never do this, but do the software updates. Because it never really tells you, especially if you're using like a Polar H9 or a Polar H10, but you're using it with a Garmin or a Coros,
you were the one that
you
told
would
me that.
never know.
I didn't even have the Polar app, right?
Right,
And then
so you have to get the
had to go
Polar.
update it, yeah.
And the reason I know when it is not working, it won't work properly, but on Zwift, which I use it a lot, it always does this little like blip, like where it cuts out and back in. And I know it's just a software update thing. And as soon as I do the software update, it's smooth.
Interesting. Yeah, Zwift is really the only place that I've been wearing my heart. I used to wear it on training runs all the time, but I don't.
I don't think I'm going to wear it at the race this weekend.
Yeah.
I just don't want that extra
I think
chest
be comfortable.
Yeah, exactly.
Is the
I just
way
want
to
to run.
go.
I don't want to listen to the.
I was telling you this week
stuff.
that I had that crazy. I was just exploring Zwift routes this week, and I hate the treadmill, like hate it. And I thought this week, oh, there's a really cool Watopia 50-mile treadmill run. I should do that.
Well, they're all made for cycling, isn't it? Like the runs.
The runs, yeah.
It's a 50-mile route for the bike.
Yeah, I know, but I was like, oh, that looks awesome. I should do it. And I was like, I could do it tomorrow. And I'm like, yeah, it was ridiculous. Anyway, I wanted to talk about AI. So AI was a really big topic this week. So DeepSeek.
At work or what?
Everywhere.
Okay.
So DeepSeek is an AI company and they came out with this new AI software. R1 is the version.
Okay.
And they are claiming it's Chinese built, and they are claiming that they built it for less than $6 million.
Okay.
Which shook the business world because people are investing hundreds of millions of dollars into AI technology. And here comes DeepSeek saying, I built it for $6 million. And it was interesting because, I mean, like the stock markets reacted, like all kinds of crazy stuff was happening. And not only that, they have a different learning system. So ChatGPT was kind of like among the first very prominent, I would say, that we all started using and playing with.
Yeah.
And ChatGPT they fed it a lot of data and then it refined its results based on the data that it initially fed in. So it's gotten better from learning, but it kind of had an initial data dump. Whereas the DeepSeek software, it doesn't go and it didn't feed it data. It goes in, you give it a prompt and it goes and searches, and it's like a trial and error type of thing. So kind of way more disastrous almost in the beginning, but way cheaper supposedly in the beginning and way less resources for it to go.
Makes sense.
And a lot faster to market. So very quickly, tons of companies, I know you're like bored from this topic.
No, but I mean, it does lead into.
Yeah, so very quickly, tons of companies started banning this software. So in their private policy, I'm going to read it.
Just because it's Chinese?
Well, in their privacy policy, it says this company will collect user keystrokes, text, and audio input, upload files, feedback, chat history, and any other content for the purpose of training its models, and can share that information with law enforcement and public authorities at its discretion. So tons of bans. Anyway, not even 10 days later, a week later, there was a huge data leak, and over 1 million sensitive records were released and exposed. But another interesting fact was that it's open source, where ChatGPT isn't, where you can call its code and kind of integrate its own code into your stuff. But just what I thought was interesting with it completely shook the tech world this past week.
Yeah,
which you're not in tune with. So sorry for all the runners that are listening. you see what I'm, excited about and how much he doesn't care. And
I care.
Yeah.
I have
you
a few
fall
thoughts.
asleep.
No,
okay.
I have a few thoughts.
All right.
One, you were at the office today, but I was in my office, aka like our home office.
Yeah.
And instead of you at your desk sharing like you do like 3 times a week, it was your mom.
Really? She was at my desk today?
And she was doing a interview.
Yeah.
She's gonna love that I'm mentioning.
I didn't know this.
She was interviewing for a position for her work. And I was like scared shitless. I was like, your mom is like...
She's scary.
She is scary.
Yeah.
And she's just straightforward. Like you're a lot like her in a lot of ways.
Yeah,
like just
I am.
Straight, like tell you as it is.
Yeah.
So there's like a few questions in there that I was like, I would not want to be interviewed by your mom. Like it was awful. It's like, tell me how you... Or like there was like a lead up question that was like, what tools are you using to write this stuff, like to do your job basically.
Yeah.
And it was totally like, all I heard was like, are you using ChatGPT to,
my mom
to BS
uses
me?
ChatGPT
No, but that's fine.
Yeah.
But it was kind of like, are you going to tell me that?
Yeah.
But then the next question was like, how do you use AI in your job? And it was like, okay. And this person was very good. There's like, well, everybody uses it.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not going to like sugarcoat that answer, right?
Yeah.
But it was like it was like interrogation almost. Like it was his job.
My mom is intense, but she's not that way like with boyfriends, for example.
No.
So I had a boyfriend once I meet her in college for the first time, and he got upset because he was like prepared for tons of questions, and he's like, she doesn't like me. She didn't ask me any questions. And my mom's like, so like that is work. She's very intense, but it's not as bad.
I was trying to remember.
But she was hard on me growing up. Sorry, Mom. She knows that. We've talked about it.
No, it was awesome. It was like, she was the boss.
Yeah.
Today. And then it was like at the end of the interview, very good question, like totally scripted from the other person being interviewed, but it was just like, tell me about the other applicants so far, and also, what have you heard from me that like you really liked?
That's on like the top 10 interview
exactly.
questions.
It was like such a like, you read the Google top 10, whatever, and like tell me what you think is a weakness or whatever.
Yeah.
And your mom's just like, I really didn't see like that you can do this and that.
Really?
I was like, damn. I mean, she brought up the good stuff, but it was straight out of it, like no sugarcoat and everything.
No, she's very blunt for sure. She always has been. I use AI at work, actually. We have a Microsoft Copilot.
Yeah.
And I used it to help me write all my performance reviews for my employees and like do a bunch of other stuff. I've had it help me with different setups.
Your school, like getting into school?
Oh, ChatGPT helped me write my grad school essays. Except I really didn't take it. I took like idea points, but I wrote the whole thing myself.
Yeah.
No,
it's a great tool.
But at work, this Copilot, it'll read all of my emails, files, chats, everything, and try to find something or help create something based on basically.
Well, I know, and now they've integrated that kind of like with Gemini into Gmail this last week, really. I've seen it pop up, and it's kind of driving me crazy. But this trickling into like my world, like I've always been scared, like, it basically, am I going to be replaced as a coach?
So that's where I wanted to go with this. So today I made a ChatGPT training plan. And I know that you had done this months ago.
I've played with it.
And I think it's gotten better. So when you made it the first time, like a couple years ago, we were sitting there and it was like basically trying to kill you.
Yeah, it was like, this is not possible to do.
And I look at this training plan that it spit out for me, and it's making a lot of assumptions. Some of it's aggressive, right? Like you have 120 miler for your marathon, and you have 10 miles easy, 10 miles at your marathon pace.
It's one of my workouts.
Yeah, I feel like, there's just no tailoring, right?
Well, you would have to just use it in real time, live, and your prompts have to be really good, as with anything.
So, but that brings me up to another topic, is that something that's becoming more prominent in what I was searching is that AI coaching. There are a number of AI coaching sites.
Yeah.
And then I went down into like Reddit and all these other like blogs like discussing these AI coaching sites. and people were saying, you know, it's good. Like I've PR'd because I haven't had structure and they didn't want to pay for a real coach or this, that, and the other. But this one said, my biggest complaint is that it adjusts too much based off of any deviation from the plan.
Yeah.
So you have a crappy run and it doesn't understand that you got 2 hours of sleep last night,
right,
and your heart rate was super high and you ran slower.
And that's where like I gained back the confidence in just being a human and a coach, and like having all this experience of deviations. And that's really where a coach becomes the most valuable, because anybody can write a training plan or pull something or copy from people's Strava.
I mean, the internet is endless with opportunities.
But you can't have that like real conversation or gain confidence from ChatGPT to tell you everything's going to be okay.
Well, so that was the second point, is that, you know, IPR, it deviates too much, and I also don't have coaching, right? It's not there for the confidence boost. If you need that support and that friendship and
really
that relationship, exactly.
Yeah.
So, but if you're just trying to do, you know, a couch to 5K, or some people that are, you know, more self-motivated, it's fine. But I think that knowledge of what's happening to your body as life happens is completely missing.
Yeah, and like with every athlete, there's definitely periods where it's like, you're just writing a plan. And like if they don't have a lot of communication back and there's not the communication, then it is just like putting a plan out there and trying to adjust.
And you have athletes like that.
Yeah, but inevitably in every single person's life, there's like a why, there's a bump, there's something that's like, we got to navigate.
Yeah.
And that's where like, there's no book, there's no source of anything that I can pull from other than just like what's in my brain. Now, what's interesting that came up at lunch yesterday, I was like, holy smokes, Coop is a famous coach. He's basically like brain dumped with, a developing group to put his brain into a model. And it's like a decision-making thing of like how he would coach. And I've had that idea for a really long time of like, how can I get my brain into a model or a book or a paper?
But there's limits, there's still limits.
Absolutely. Yeah, and like right now it's like, I went to the application thing and it's very like, single dimension. It's just like, make sure that your race is in 12 weeks, you have no other issues right now, and like
you're already running 30 miles a week.
Exactly. It's like it's just going to kind of spit out that pretty narrow range of...
Right. So my ChatGPT prompt was very basic. It was like, I'm training for a marathon in 12 weeks and I want to run 3 hours and just see what it gives me.
Yeah.
And
it'd be cool if, I guess this gets into our next point with Strava, is like if it could take your biometrics and if your heart rate was accurate and all that stuff, and it knew your sleep and your HRV and your diet and your calories in, and like imagine like you had all the inputs and accurate inputs.
So these AI platforms though, take your Garmin, they integrate with your Strava and Garmin, but again, garbage in, garbage out, right?
Yeah, the GPS is bad, the heart rate's bad.
But assuming it was all perfect, people, I think it's still overcompensating for, I'm hitting the wall.
Don't hit the wall.
It's still overcompensating for, deviations and going too far, and it's still not coaching you. So I signed up for a trial of AI coaching just to see what it would give me. And it's very proprietary too.
Oh, I know.
It'll only give you like a week in advance, and that's it.
Interesting.
Yeah. But leading into the next topic, I think that what we've all seen recently or the past several weeks is AI really trying to stroke your ego, or Strava really trying to stroke your ego after a run. Yeah,
the athlete intelligence with Strava, it's pretty funny because it's not only pulling from the data, but it also pulls from what you write.
Yeah.
So you can write some ludicrous things just like because you have this thought of the day or emotion or whatever, and it uses that. So I think this isn't even, it's funny that it happened, and the person that this happened to laughs about it now. But there's a person in the running community in Houston that had a full-on cardiac arrest.
Yeah.
Had a heart attack while on a run, put that in the caption of her run, and Strava, I'll show it here now, put athlete intelligence, a challenging run with a significant cardiac event, hitting a personal record for segments while experiencing intense heart rate fluctuations.
That's amazing.
Like, she had a heart attack.
Great job, but you had a heart attack.
You went to the ER.
Yeah. That's
PR
bizarre.
or ER.
Well, so I
like to
found
say.
that when we go to Hot Works for the sauna sessions,
Yeah.
I'll put sauna spin on there. And every time my intelligence is like, great time spent in the sauna, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, you wouldn't have known that because I log it as a cycle.
Exactly.
You know, unless I had. And you know what? I'm sorry for everybody that had to listen to me geek out about DeepSeek to get here.
No, but yeah.
Yeah. All interesting AI topics.
More to come, I'm sure.
Yeah. So while we're on Strava, though, we've been talking about, you know, what's a real PR, right?
Oh gosh, I don't know what sparked this week, but there's quite a few like notable like coaches and running influencer people that were like, a treadmill PR is not a PR. A GPS watch PR or best effort is not a PR. And I know there's people that legitimately, I've had athletes that will stop their watch at 26.2 miles and the finish line is
while running a race.
half mile
That's
up.
insane.
Like done. I even had an athlete walk off the course at that point and didn't finish.
What?
Yeah.
Wow.
During one of my own events that I set up,
Yeah.
I was livid because that time was going to be used, the official time, the chip time that we were recording was going to be used as a BQ.
Yeah.
And they didn't finish the final 1,200 meter lap that we had because it hit 26.2. And I was like,
That's
I can't submit this. It's a DNF.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's a lot of reasons why, like if you're on a course and even if there's a lot of people and you have to run long, it doesn't matter. Like your chip time is your time from start to finish on the certified course is the only thing that matters.
Well, so Strava, what it does is you have a place where you can input your PRs, you know.
Yeah.
But Strava calculates this for you and has a whole section of your estimated PRs. Yeah. And so, you know, maybe your half marathon PR was 1:30, but Strava will say like 1:29:10.
Yeah.
You know, because it's not accounting for that extra. And that's generous. I think it's a few minutes off.
If you look at the track logs, and especially something like Houston, Chicago, any big city, you can see where your track log goes through buildings and cuts corners or goes wide and bounces and stuff. And you can see why that error.
I mean, Houston starting is a disaster downtown.
Yeah, I mean, you just have a lot of interference going on. So it's crazy to me that that's a thing. Like people legit will
GPS or bust.
You know, and this other thought came in. I was like, there's people that are just like, oh, I have to run 100 miles this week. And it's exactly 100 every week. And I'm like, you know what? You probably ran like 97, maybe not even. You know, like if you add up, like look at a marathon, it can be like a half mile off, no problem, easy, half mile for 26. So there's 2 miles.
So I actually feel that my Strava is less than what I actually run.
Yeah, and it could be. And
because
like, it could
I'm
be
downtown and it takes so much long. And anytime I'm running with my coworkers downtown and through the buildings, I always have the shortest distance out of everybody, but sometimes by like 0.3 miles.
Yeah, so like imagine that over every run, every week for a month.
Absolutely.
I think it's just funny that like people that are like just such stricklers for the numbers, and I'm like so far from that. Like I put some goals out there for myself for sure, like when I'm really in the training. Yeah. But there's always like a little asterisk on that it's like. Yeah. And also I always think about this too. So like, what if everyone was just in kilometers? You know, like what would the magic number be? Would everyone be training 160 kilometers a week?
No.
That's not a sexy number.
No, it's not a sexy number. 100-mile week is a sexy number.
Right. So like, would everyone be training 200 kilometers or would they just call it 100? Like they'd be like 100K, like 60-mile weeks. You know, just because of the...
It'd be like 125, 150. Yeah, more.
No, but like, do you think it would fall back to like, oh, this is what's right for my body? It's 161 kilometers every week?
No, I don't think so. And I don't think people would go to 200. I don't know. Well, some people would, but
I think as the pros, it would. We didn't have this on the top. What are we at? We're at 44 minutes. My gosh.
Yeah.
Maybe this is for a future topic. The half marathon deserves its own name.
We talked about this week. Yeah.
Multiple times this has come up.
Yeah.
It is such a healthy, great race distance that so many people should do over the marathon. And saying that it's half, it's like
lesser.
It diminishes it. And also, I know why we have the marathon distance. Like basically like the Queen at one point made it end at the Palace, and like that's why it got 26.2 whatever. It's like, I wish it was more standardized. Like, but then would we have breaking too, you know? Like, we should just have like 40K, and then it would be, the women would be breaking too.
I mean, the whole industry would change if you think about it that way, right?
Yeah.
It would be insane.
Yeah, like the Boston route.
Yeah, it'd be completely different.
Yeah, all these iconic things.
Yeah.
It's just so funny how much we all put into the numbers sometimes when they're not even accurate. I mean, there's just so much error.
Your heart rate's wrong. Your distance is
wrong.
Don't
believe anything.
Yeah, it's all a conspiracy.
Yeah. just enjoy it.
Yeah, I think some of my best runs are when I don't think about it. I just go. I'm still logging it.
What sparked last week's was like an athlete was struggling with their recovery. They were feeling good, but their HRV or their whatever their Garmin was telling them was that I saw so many of those posts this week, and someone was just blaming me like, well, how do you feel? You know, like, like, oh, my watch is telling me this and that. It's just so frustrating to see people like a slave to the numbers, a slave to the technology.
We talked about that last week, right? Of like that placebo effect.
Yeah. All right. Let's get into some fun stuff.
Yeah. So let's switch from all the serious stuff. Let's talk about your training week. So going into Black Canyon, what have you done this week?
Ooh, well, today I got off the bike. I did 50K on the bike on Monday before a Saturday race. So pretty big, but I felt like I needed that one last big hit of like endurance something without impact.
Yeah.
So that was good. And so that's Monday. Sunday I ended up just playing. So it was a rest day. But Saturday I had a pretty solid, I ended up being 30 minutes at marathon pace, like 5:18, 5:20 per mile on hills, and a lot downhill, which Black Canyon's downhill. So I ran 30 minutes at sub 5:20, which was great. So almost hit 10K. And then I had actually like finished like grunting it in at this one bridge, hit 30 minutes and was done, and turned around, and the guy that was with me, Lou, he's like, I still have half mile. And I was like gassed. But then by the time that 30 seconds went by and I was like, well, I'll finish with him. I did 800 up a hill. I was like completely fine again. And that was more like 540 a mile for him when I finished up. So I was recovering really quickly. Other than that, I did a huge treadmill workout. Probably the best. I have this one standard workout that I always do that's 3-minute intervals at 10% incline. And it's all at easy pace. Like, so if my easy pace is 7 flat, for example, or just under like 6:58 or something, like I warm up to that, and then I don't touch the speed dial at all.
You touch the incline dial.
It goes to 10% for the hard, and then I actually go -% for the recovery. Now our janky treadmill, when I hit -3, it actually maxes out at 8 miles per hour, which I think is like 7, mid-sevens for pace-wise. So I actually have to readjust it back to my sub-7 pace when I hit the 10%. But I've tapped out of that workout multiple times before in the past. Like I can't hang on, can't do it. I'll drop it to like 8%, or I'll drop the pace back lower, and I'll not do 10. This time I did 12.
Oh, great.
And it was all actually faster. And
I've known you to back out of that workout before, actually.
It's like one of my like test pieces. So I know I'm fit when I can do that. And that was really solid.
Nice.
So other than that, just some easy running and some good elevation. We did the hill together.
Yeah, we did 1Ks. I did some 1Ks on that hill, but my stomach was all messed up. And then I did 12 miles easy for my long run. It was a down week for me this week.
And we did sauna together with really good strength.
We did sauna twice with some good strength, really good strength.
Like actually weightlifting.
This week, full weightlifting. I feel really strong. Complete like total recovery week for me. I only ran 40 miles and just chill. But yeah, it was good.
Nice.
So,
yeah, no, it's a good training week. Like my stuff tends to get bigger and bigger and bigger as I get closer to that, like more specific towards the race.
Yeah.
So I'm ready to go.
I'm going to do track in the morning or intervals in the morning. Probably not on the track though.
And I'm going to the trails.
Yeah. One
last trail.
Yeah. So, but let's see. On a personal front, so we did life dinner last week. We talked about that. It was a rough one.
It was a rough one heading in. We had a little spat.
Yeah, we had a spat. We were not on the same page.
No, we were just not agreeing on, I can't even remember what. Classic guy.
All of our fights are all the same. on a dumb topic, and we each judge the other person's intentions differently, and then get super stubborn, and then our tones are off, and then we judge each other's tones, and then it spirals.
Yeah.
Like
Well, it's
textbook, that's our fight.
Night one of that couple's, what was it called? Marriage Matters.
Yeah.
Was like, you're not fighting about the actual topic
Yeah.
ever. Like you basically are fighting about
Yeah.
fighting, or what was the term that they use? It was,
I don't
and then you
remember,
spiral.
but
Yeah. Or the crazy cycle.
crazy
You get into the
cycle.
crazy cycle, which then now that's like a trigger even.
Yeah.
It's like, well, you're starting the crazy cycle.
Don't call me crazy.
My warning lights are going off. It's like,
Yeah.
here we go. It's like there's no getting out of it.
Yeah, so we were already not in a good mood going
But we're
into
like,
this.
we have to do life dinner tonight.
Yeah, we have to do it. So we did it. And we got in a fight in our life dinner. And usually, like, you're not supposed to do that. You're supposed to be just like no stonewalling.
We went through the rules of that last week.
Yeah.
Oh, and if you want to know what life dinner is, check out last week's, even just the notes. Like you can see it under our podcast notes of like how to go through a life dinner.
But I think that it also opened us up to the fact, like, in a kind of more calm way, like to understand the other person's perspective.
Yeah, and that's always what it is. Like we're both holding on to something that's important to us.
Yeah.
Even tonight, like I got in late from my ride. I had no idea, but like I had these things I had to do, and it was like I'm holding on to like, well, this is my important thing.
Yeah.
My training is important, and I get home and it's like, why were you gone so long? Like not like, wow, how was your bike? Your training's going so well, and that's why I got
because
upset.
earlier we had agreed on a very specific schedule, and it just completely threw my entire night off.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and I'm glad that you got that ride in. Like during that time, I never thought, oh, he's on a ride. Like I was happy you were riding, but I was frustrated that like everything that I had planned just went to the side, like and that we had agreed on.
Right. Well, we don't have to get into it.
Yeah.
Right now.
Anyway, sorry, y'all.
We're well over that.
Yeah. But yeah, we're fine now. But yeah, marriage life dinner was hard, but it was really good. Like
it had been a while, but it was cool to go back. I couldn't believe like it had been 2 years, I think, since the first one, really?
2 years since the first one, yeah.
So there's like this diary, like a record, and you always kind of go back and review it as you're coming into the next one to see like, you know, what maybe you haven't accomplished that you said you were going to do or wanted to do, and like roll some goals and things forward or things that you wanted to work on.
No, there were some things in my notes that were like, wow, I can't believe those were issues, you know?
Oh yeah, and that too.
You know?
Yeah, and then you can also see like how far you've come or things that you have accomplished, so.
Yeah, no, it was, and by the end, I think we were more connected and content with each other than we had been, and yeah, it was great.
Yeah, and had we not done that, and then you go a whole nother month and another month, it's like you're not checking in. Yeah. And that's just where those like bad habits and disconnects like turn into like serious problems.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. Anyway, love you. But that aside, yeah, last week, life dinner training, everything, but the weekend was perfect, as we had mentioned earlier. So some good runs, but then we had all the kids and we played hard on Saturday.
Yeah. Like just, messing around with the kids.
Yeah. And so I think that it was a big weekend for flying for you. And that started on Saturday. So
I finally got to finish one of my projects.
Yeah. So we had mentioned the scooter before.
The scooter, there it is in all its glory.
Yeah.
So basically it's an old Yamaha, and instead of the rear wheel, that's a spool of Spectra line that runs through a pulley system in the middle and then a pulley system in the front that I've mounted on this trailer. And then it runs all the way down. There's you in your sports bra, getting ready to gear me up. I thought I had the kids in here. I'm flipping around. But anyways, sorry, I'm messing this up. You did get to tow me up, which was fun. We at first had the wagon going with the kids.
With the kids in it.
Because I wanted to test just like actually having tension on it, how it's going to reel in.
Well, that was the first time we had ever, taken it out and tried the actual towing system.
Yeah, and I had a few adaptations, things I had to make on the fly, but it was all working well. And this is from the first initial test run, and it was kind of just like running alongside just the first 10 seconds of it, getting my feet a little bit off the ground. But that's a paraglider. And so I wanted to do this because you can see the difference in the wings that I fly. So the big kind of parachuting arced glider, that's a paraglider. So it's paragliding, there's no motor. And yeah, it's hard to get off the ground when you live in Houston.
Pro tip,
Flatland.
do not call it a parachute.
Paramotor or parasailing or...
Do not call it parasailing.
Parasailing is the worst. Like, no, we're not in Mexico drinking on the beach and doing tour rides around the coast. This is a serious sport, people.
Well, then on Sunday, that same day, we'll stay on that day. So yeah, we were towing we hooked up the rope to the kids' wagon a wagon. It's really our gardening wagon, but
so the first hour or something was just towing kids in the wagon.
Yeah,
they had a blast.
They had a blast.
Yeah,
they had a good time, and their cousins as well.
Yeah,
and so that was really fun. And then we grilled out and we had s'mores, and you shot a flaming marshmallow on a bow and arrow into the reservoir. Yeah, as one does. Yeah. And it was a great day. And then Sunday, my mom took all the kids to the zoo, and you went hang gliding.
Well, I remember we were doing some chores.
We did chores.
Some chores
yeah.
out.
And you know what? That was so amazing, because normally I'm like, can you help me inside? And you're like, never come. Or I have to it's like pulling teeth.
Or I'll do my chores, which is cleaning the hangar.
But you don't, right. But it's not
helping
our chores.
I know.
And a woman's place is not at the house. Let's just be clear about that.
Never said it was.
You said helping you in the house. So we did laundry and all that other stuff. Yeah, helping me.
Help me help you.
But yeah, I was just on the hammock outside waiting, and you had just, you went inside and did a couple things, but then you started without me.
Yeah.
And I was amazed. You're like, where are you? And man, I loved you so much in that moment.
But then I walked outside and I was like, whoa, I didn't realize what a good day it was.
Yeah.
And then I started doing the math. I was like, okay, we've been through winter. We've had terrible freeze, lots of rain. I haven't been flying in a while. And the worst thing about, I think, flying is just not being current.
Yeah.
Just not staying on top of it. You can visualize, you can read, you can study, you can watch YouTube, all you want. But just having that feel for it.
I mean, the only thing I can compare it to is rock climbing. So I used to go rock climbing outside every weekend. And if I skipped 4 weeks in a row, for example, I would feel completely foreign on the rock.
Yeah.
And not safe.
Yeah. And you can see with something like that paraglider, there's so many lines and controls and intricacies. You can definitely, and I'm playing with both wings, and I'll show you what the hang glider looks like in a minute, but it's very different controls. In fact, almost opposite. And yeah, you want to be current. So, and then I was like, okay, we're going to Black Canyon, and then I'm putting on a week-long race, 5-day race.
You don't have an opportunity.
Jackalope, bad weather's coming, and then it's who knows what. So I was like, today's the day, I gotta go.
Yeah.
And so I went.
And so I stayed at the house, and I was working on a puzzle and enjoyed the quiet for 3 hours, and then did some schoolwork, and it was really nice too. And we grilled out again that night. It was really great.
Yeah. Thanks for supporting. Because I got to go flying actually. So I'll show what hang gliding looks like here. I have 3 30-second videos. And this is aerotowing specifically. So we don't have a mountain, we don't have a hill to launch off. And so you're getting towed up behind an ultralight. And then if you want to stay up, you got to find thermals. And I was actually able to look for birds, and they kind of really, they're the masters of the sky and picking out where the lift was. Actually, I was in thermals
and
without
that's
them.
where this started, is we were outside just...
the pelicans?
Yeah, and right before we were doing chores, and you're like, look at all those groups of birds and the thermals over there. Yeah. It's a perfect day. Yeah.
And they were going up. And
there
I was
were 3
holy
groups,
smokes. Scored some major points with your mom this week, I think, with the birding.
My mom.
I had really good binoculars here.
Yeah.
And she got to see a bald eagle behind her house.
Yeah.
And then I got to fly with one yesterday.
And she got 3 new life birds.
3 new life birds. So
far.
There's an tracking app.
Oh, she's into it. Yeah, she's into it. Shout out to my mom for birding.
And it went today with the kiddo.
Yeah, she went with Charlotte, but she didn't get any new life birds today. So.
All right, let's check out the flight here. So this is on tow. I'm on a dolly. And then I pop up off the dolly first because I'm being towed by this ultralight that's a bit heavier, has a little bit faster flying speed than I do. And so I'm kind of waiting for it to come off the ground. And then once it's off the ground, I'm just trying to hold in the bar, honestly, to keep it on the horizon, which is really tough at the beginning. But I'm attached on a line. I can release at any point in time. And if that doesn't work, I have a hook knife, and I'm always watching the pilot that's flying the ultralight to see, if they want me to get off, they have a sign as well. And they also have a release that they could just kind of release the line. So that's what the launch looks like. You're close to the ground at full flying speed. So obviously, like, stuff happens very quickly. There's a lot of pressure. And it's like definitely when the hardest part about flying is the ground. It's like when you're near the ground at flying speed and towing, it's definitely the most precise you have to be.
Yeah.
But then you release, and there I am just flying around. And this is actually, I'm in a thermal right now, and I have an instrument that beeps when you're going up. So I have like an audible sound that I'm kind of listening for that just kind of helps, but I can really feel them pretty well. And you're trying to like figure out the shape of the thermals because they all are very different, and the wind was crazy that day, so there's a lot of drift. And yeah, here I'm getting like rocked around a little bit and finding where the strong and weak lift is. But the birds that were in there with me, I got really close to some vultures, it's like you're sharing the air and everything's super quiet. Yeah. And you can see there, I'm just like not even hands-on. It's just like, just taking in the world. So that was a really good flight, which with all the wind that we had was a little nerve-wracking getting close to the ground again, because it's like, okay, I don't want to get gusted and like have any, come off balance a little bit when I'm landing. But happy to say I had probably like hands down.
He came home, he's like, babe, look at my landing.
Best landing.
Yeah, it was amazing.
And both the instructors there at the airport, so I came in kind of a little bit different approach, but judged it, I just lined it up exactly as I needed to avoid any being downwind of any structures and turbulence and things. Came in over the field and basically got the legs out of the harness. So yeah, I unzip and let the ultras hang out and go up on the down tubes, and basically came to like a complete 0 ground speed pause. So I was pretty stoked on that. That was a really good landing. Yeah. And up for over 30 minutes. So flying season's like starting to kick in. The ground's getting hot from the sun that's like beating down on it at better angles and for longer, and it's drying out. So the season's just beginning. So that's what hang gliding looks like. So yeah, completely different wing than the paraglider. Completely different flying. In a way, similar but different. Yeah.
Awesome.
So I was happy.
Oh, yeah, it's a good weekend.
Added a couple logbook entries.
Yeah, got some flying in.
And the neighborhood was buzzing.
The neighborhood was going crazy. I mean, I did a little 5K shakeout on Saturday as a second run. Yeah. And every other house was like, you go, Rachel, you got it. Like they were just out and about.
Yeah, we're the runners.
Yeah. Yeah, we are the runners of the neighborhood for sure.
But yeah, everyone was flying too, which was great to see.
Yeah.
Ultralights, Cubs, Stearmans, everything was up.
Jeff was out today.
Jeff got in trouble. Oh no, not Jeff. I was gonna say our other neighbor one we really like got in trouble. I don't know if he actually got in trouble, but I guess he was burning some leaves, and everyone's sensitive right now with all the air accidents around the country that somebody like from Walmart was like, there's an airplane crash at the airport.
Yeah,
and it
so
was
there were
like
like
full
3 fire trucks and policemen all down the street thinking that there was a plane crash, but it was just our neighbor burning some leaves. Because we are allowed to burn since we're unincorporated here. Yeah, but there's like some protocol you should go through. Maybe he did, I don't know, but somebody basically called in a plane crash. Yeah. Anyway. All good. Yeah, so entering this week, you're tapering at this point. Yeah, I'm gonna do one more, a little bit more work, but tapering down for sure. It's not much to taper from when you don't put in. When you don't train. I'd say that. Damn. Anyway, yeah. Yeah, I think we hit it all, and we're right at 104. Cool. Easy. I left out like 4 or 5 topics actually. We'll roll them forward. Yeah. And I didn't even go through the poll I had on Instagram with us. So yeah, feel free to drop your comments, follow, like, subscribe, all that stuff that people do. Tell us what you want to hear. Yeah, we didn't get to any of those topics this week, so sorry. Yeah, we didn't answer your question. We might have to just do a Q&A session. Yeah, once we get enough. I also eventually want to have a guest on here. Like maybe you take it, you're the better interviewer. But depending on who it is, like my mom interview them. Oh jeez. Not interview, that's interrogation. Yeah. Yeah, I am a better interviewer and conversation goer for sure when it comes to also people. Coming up this week, speaking about interviewing, I need to finish reading
Steve Magness's new book.
Tomorrow, babe.
Tomorrow night, I sit down in a public forum audience at a bookstore to talk to Steve about his new book.
Steve, if you're listening, how far do you think Cal is in your book?
I've done well. I've written some notes. We're going to have a chat tomorrow. It's going to be gravy. It's going to be good.
It's going to be good.
But
Still, I want to know the answer to that question.
Tuesday night down in Houston at the Brazos bookstore. Yeah,
Brazos
Tuesday night.
Bookstore. Yeah, I don't even know where that is. Where is that? Oh, I think it's in just south of 59, near like
Rice area. I think it's in
near
Rice
the
area.
Rice area. Yeah. Exactly.
So yeah, that's gonna be fun. Sitting down with old college teammate. I was showing your mom some of his books that he's written along the way, and I'd say this is definitely his best writing. You know, the first one is like he puked on a napkin, and it was all this like training tech stuff and like theory, and it's just progressed from there. And this one's like really good about interweaving his story of being the whistleblower at Nike, which he hasn't fully talked about. He hasn't been free to talk about that for a while now. Like it's still fairly recent that all like got tidied up. So it's like interweaving like his own struggles in life with like how to perform better, you know, and how to
That's awesome.
live. So yeah.
While we're on the book topic, I'll just finish with one embarrassing story about me. I was in a one-on-one with my boss this week. I told you this. It was so embarrassing. And we were talking about like logistics of driving because I have among the longest commute in my team for sure. And I was saying, no, I really like it because I listen to my books because I mostly listen to audiobooks in the car, podcasts or news.
Yeah.
And he was like, oh, like textbooks? And I said, no, pleasure books. And I was like, I mean like, you know, fiction and nonfiction, sometimes business books, not like that. And he turned red.
Pleasure books.
Pleasure, like I was thinking business or pleasure, but.
To be fair. Look up Letterkenny if you have no idea what that is. You haven't even seen it.
No.
Letterkenny, great Canadian show.
All right.
To be fair. Some of those dragon books you listen to are freaking raunchy. I don't know I can't stand when you listen to your books because it's like.
That's just one series.
5x speed.
Well, so I listen to my books really fast. So
and that was the problem with Magnus's book. I have like the copy that's like, this is an unproofed copy. Like it's not out for sale yet. Don't sell this thing. It's like, I can't get an audio version of this like, to rip through. I have to actually read this thing.
So I don't like fantasy in a book.
But your mom got you.
But my mom, so actually Kira, my friend Kira got me to read Fourth Wing, which is, you know, all the rage. And then my mom got me to read a couple other series. And one of them was fine. The second one, I hated it. And I kept going because my mom was like, please finish it. I need one of my kids to finish it. And I hate it. And that one had like zero actually sexy bits. It was like truly like fantasy strategy. And I hated my life for hours. But yeah, I've been re-listening to Fourth Wing and then Iron, whatever the next one's called, because she came out with a third book. And I'm actually finding it like I'm so tired of this fantasy topic because I'm just off of that horrid series that my mother had me read, and I'm hating it right now. And then I've been reading reviews on this new book and saying that it was like reckless writing, and the writing got worse. Unlike Steve Magness, it got better. So I'm like, did I just waste all this time listening to this damn dragon book, which I don't even like fantasy? Like I am ready for some nonfiction business. Like keep it serious. Yeah, seriously. Anyway, all right. Well, with that.
Yeah. AI and dragon books. Lovely topics tonight.
Yeah.
Love you. Yeah. Thanks for joining.
Can really feel it. All right, y'all.